2, 1. Welcome back, everybody. This is Adwikta, that is Merps, and we are in the middle / towards the end of our grand Rastakhan preview card valuation Lightforge tier list stream thing that we do before every expansion, but for the appropriate expansion, not always for Rastakhan. And we're about to get to a good class. This is Warlock. The last two classes are like top classes right now. Like, we did Rogue, and then we dipped to Shaman, but now we're going to end on a strong note. So what is the card that Warlock, one of the top classes, is going to get in this expansion?
Whew. So Warlock's one of the classes known for the amount of removals that they have. Just got another premium AoE in Shriek. Shriek is a 1 mana rare spell that says discard your lowest cost card. Deal 2 damage to all minions. And we score this at a 170. 170 is extremely high. 170 is insanely high.
170 is higher than a Despicable Dreadlord.
Yeah. But Shriek is just a disgusting amount of tempo. Like, just way too good. And one of the problems with discard has always been you never know what you're going to discard. You can plan for this one, right? And you can so if you have another small card that is good, well, you can try to use that up before you use Shriek. But for a class that, number one, needs initiative and removal, and has it in Shriek, and wants to protect its face, and wants to use its mana efficiently and tempo before using its hero power to extract value from it, Shriek is perfect. It's so good for what they want to do. And I hate it. As a Hunter player, I hate this card. This just wrecks me. Completely dominates Hunters, and it should not exist.
I agree with you. It should not exist. This is fortunately, it's not Potion of Madness or anything. But it does discard a card, right? For 1 mana, deal 2 damage to whatever. But I don't think I mind it as much as I thought I did when I first saw it. Because when I first saw it, I was like, what? Why are we allowing for this? And I thought about it some more, and I was like, you know what? It's Warlock. They already have Defile, right? Like, when did Defile come in? Defile is Frozen Throne, right? So this just kind of keeps a early Defile in the game, right? Like, Defile rarely triggers on extremely late large boards. Like, you're not dumb enough to step into that. It mostly just does what Shriek does, but for 1 more mana. Here, you discard a small card, and you kind of do this, and it's a little lesser than Defile. It's obviously worse than Defile. Defile is a 203. That's like a 30-something point gap. But when Defile rotates, you'll still have Shriek. And we already have Defile, so we're already screwed. So I'm kind of in this mentality where it's like, this is just what Warlocks do. You shouldn't expect to ever be able to have a board against a Warlock. They can always just take it all away from you. And I still beat Warlocks at a decent rate, right? Even the way they are right now. I think Blizzard has been doing some work, right? Lowering their offering rates on their good cards and all of that. So, as long as it's decently bucketed, I think it'll be fine.
Top bucket.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be top bucket.
It's probably not going to be top bucket, and that is disgusting.
I really hope they don't put it in the second bucket on the bottom. At least put it in second top or first bottom, or even third top, even though that would be grossly under bucketing it. Because here's what's in the second bottom bucket for Warlock: Defile, Hellfire, Twisting Nether, Dread Inferno. We don't need another freaking double-sided board clear in that bucket. Think about how Arena is played, Blizzard. Don't just use pure stats.
No, I prefer for it to be there, so they have to choose.
Well, it means they'll get more of them, though. What it really ends up meaning is that you will end up seeing more Flame Imps and Hamakit. No, you won't. They're way worse than... Yeah, I don't know. All right. Next
easy
card.
Solution is to just take it out of the arena.
So and the card.
It's so easy.
So in case you're wondering, 170, I believe that is our number 1 card. I believe that this is... Is it our number 1 card? I can't. I can't.
No,
It is
no.
not our number one card.
Like overall, like
Yeah,
for all
for
classes.
all
Nope,
classes. Nope, it is not.
nope.
Ooh, I guess that means one of the classes we haven't done has the highest card. I wonder which class that could be. Okay. Second best card, also premium. Don't let the 170 scare you. This is 142, so just like still very premium. This is about where Gastropod is for Warlock. It's better than pretty much everything else. It's better than a Sea Giant. It is a Demon Bolt. 8 mana, destroy a minion. Costs 1 less for each minion you control. So if you have 1 minion, it's 7 mana and it sucks.
Yes.
If you have 2 minions, which again, if you have 1 minion that survives and you play another minion, then you can play this. It's 6 mana and it sucks. If you have 3 minions, which you likely won't, even if you play stuff, then it's 5 and it's an assassinate. So this is below an assassinate. But you are able to get a decent amount of minions in this meta, right? A lot of tokens and things like that. So it's not like that far off of an assassinate.
Right. If you look at Siphon Soul, so this is a little bit lower, just a smidge lower than Siphon Soul, and I think that's fair, right? Because you'd much rather have the consistency of Siphon Soul, but for those times in which you do get out onto the board, which is like not too uncommon, right? Like you play a little bit of tempo at the beginning, and you're able to get that like 5 mana or 4 mana assassinate. It's really, really good. So it's like, do you prefer the consistency of Siphon Soul over this? Yes. And that's why Siphon Soul is a little bit higher. But this is still good. It will still always be like a good card.
Okay. So let's move on. These are normal cards. 107. 107 is a Reckless Dire Troll. Reckless Dire Troll is a 3 mana 2/6 taunt. Battlecry, discard your lowest card. Same kind of mechanic. It's good that they're going to this mechanic where you're allowed to discard your lowest or highest cost card or whatever. It's a better one than random. I think they figured out that random discard did not work for constructed at least. The problem with this card really is that it doesn't do much. Like, Shriek allows you to do something you shouldn't be able to do until 3 mana and Volcanic Potion, and that's an insane card. I would argue you shouldn't be allowed to do it until 4 mana. And it drops it by like 2 to 3 mana. A 2/6 taunt is like what, like a really good 3 mana card, like a 3.5 mana card.
Yeah, it's really good.
So, but I mean, like, it's not a 4 mana card. Segadon's not a good 4 mana card, so it's like a 3.5 mana card,
right?
And you're doing the same thing. So this is like, imagine if Shriek's effect, which is deal 2 damage to everything on the board, should like normally cost 1.5 mana. So what's 1.5 mana? Like a 2/2? Like, imagine if that's what happened. You would be not very impressed by the card. And that's what's happening with Reckless Dire Troll. Now, to be fair, 2/6 taunts are pretty damn good in Warlock. Like, they're better in Warlock. Stegodons are better in Warlock than they are in other classes because you can use your health with your hero power. But you're just getting so little out of this discard.
Yep. Okay. What is the next card? It is Soul Warden. This is a 103. So 6 mana for 6/6 Battlecry. Add 3 random cards you discarded this game to your hand. Okay. You know, you're probably going to discard stuff now that you're drafting like Shriek. In addition to, you know, all the other stuff that you got. But once again, part of the reason why it's so low is drawing cards as a Warlock is not as valuable as drawing cards for, you know, other classes, right?
And your opponent knows what you have. So
and
it's
your
the same
opponent
as
knows,
that shaman
right.
card issue.
Yeah. So a lot of times with you as a Warlock playing a 6 mana 6/6, your opponents are very fine with it. That's why it's like meh And then, of course, you still have to have discarded before you play this.
Yeah, you're never going to draw 3 cards. Or, like, you're very rarely going to draw 3 cards. And if you remember, if you're actually relying on Shriek and Dire Troll, then you're not drawing very big cards, because they're discarding your lowest cost card.
Right. So if you think about it, it's like, oh, what have I discarded? Well, once again, like, unsexy merps to kill your buzz here. On turn 6, you're not drawing 3 cards. You may be drawing 1 card, right? And yeah, like, there are those games in which you might have played Shriek and then into, like, the what was it, the 5-mana charger, right? That discards 2, and then on turn 6 you top deck this thing and then you place it down. It won't happen most of the time. If you do want to get a draw or add 3 cards, it'll be like turn 15, which is still really good, but once again, there's a reason.
Like, it gets its value if you can just like get 1 card. That's what you're really like targeting. But it's even questionable that you can get 1 card to get discarded. All right. Next card is a Grimm Rally at a 96. Grimm Rally, destroy a friendly minion. Give your minions +1/+1. Isn't it crazy that we used to have a druid card that was like this without a downside? You just give all your minions +1/+1? That was so broken.
So stupid. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the balanced version of that, where you're 1 minion down, probably a minion without initiative, and you're giving the rest of your minions +1/+1. So they balanced it. I don't know what to say about it. It's still a good number of pure stats for a 1-mana card, but you do have to have a board to set it up, and you do have to have 1 small minion in there, which shouldn't be a problem for Warlock. But again, kind of situational still. It is the only thing in Warlock that like buffs stats that's not tied to a demon, so it's interesting.
That's true. This will this can either activate one way or another your arena treasure chest.
Yes, exactly. No matter which one you cast it on, the arena treasure chest will be activated. See all these synergies.
Dude, who doesn't want 5 mana, 2 cards, draw 2 cards? So good. Okay. Next, we have Blood Troll Sapper. 7 mana, 5/8. After a friendly minion dies, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. It's not good because the stats are not great for 7 mana, and
the stats are 6 mana stats.
Yeah. And look, you can kind of try to get face damage on. It's just not good. Don't draft this. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they'll put this like worst bucket and it'll be fine.
All right. Next card. Do you want to talk about this, or do you want me to talk about this?
No, you talk about it and explain the discussion that we have and why.
This is a card that Merp strenuously disagreed with.
I like this card.
And then I talked him down to get it to a 50 points, which is pretty much trash. It is Spirit of the Bat. 2 mana, 0/3. Stealth for 1 turn. After a friendly minion dies, give a minion in your hand +1/+1. So the main question is how many minions are going to die and when. And the answer that the algorithm gave is 2.5 minions dying at some point, some now, some later. The number we came up with our head was roughly 3. Either way, for 2 mana, you're getting +1/+1. You're getting like 5 stats or 6 stats in your hand that gets a little delayed before you can play it out. That's not that great. And you're taunting some face damage, which is fine for Spirit of the Bat. Yeah, that's really all it is. Math-wise, it kind of just like didn't work out in terms of how much it was actually adding back onto the tempo or the card advantage. And since that's all this card does, you kind of needed to like really do stuff. And clearly you can't play it on curve. This is not like that Paladin Spirit, which in certain circumstances you can play it on curve. So it just ends up not getting enough value. It's pretty straightforward. But it's interesting, right? That intuitively you think that it could get a decent amount of value, and then when you figure out like how much 3 friendly minions actually dying will get you, you're like, okay, that's not really like 2 mana's worth of stuff.
Yep. Good talk. Good talk. Excellent. Not excellent. I lied. Let's just move on to the next one. This one makes me sad. Void Contract. One of the first cards that we saw. Big boy. 8 mana. Destroy half of each player's deck. 0. Just as good as Shrivala.
Moving on. How are our legendaries looking, Merps?
Oh, let me check. Okay. First legendary is High Priestess Jeklik, which is a 4 mana 3/4 taunt lifesteal. When you discard this, add 2 copies of it to your hand. 135 is a good score. First of all, lifesteal is really good for Warlock. So the discard is like a little bonus here or there, but even just like the lifesteal and taunt, it does 2 things that you really want. So yeah.
Yep, as Warlock. And you can get it to trigger with discards here and there.
Yeah.
And when you do, you just doubled a really good card.
Right. When you do, it's insane. Like, if you have like multiple copies of this and you're a Warlock, you just automatically win. Yep. Like, you have too many tools to not win by that point. Yeah.
All right. So the last Warlock card is Hereek the Bat. Legendary, 8 mana. Battlecry, fill your board with copies of this minion, 1/1. So you need a Spirit of the Bat to buff your Hereek the Bat, and your Hereek the Bat fills your board with 2/2s or 3/3s or 4/4s instead of, 1/1s, which is sad. But this is the arena, so you're not actually going to buff anything in your hand really all that much outside of with that neutral card. That neutral card is the most likely one to buff. This isn't even a demon, by the way. Your demon guy that buffs cards in your hand can't even work on this. He's a beast. So it's just not going to work in arena. That's all.
Yeah. But it's not as bad as people might think it is either, right? 86 is like, It's okay.
It's a lot of 1/1s, right? Still,
it's right. It's still a lot of 1/1s, which has some value to it. So,
all right, that's it for Warlock. What do you think overall Warlock is doing?
They're good. Good.
What? Just good.
What? They've had all the removals, and now they have more removals, and then it's like, look at all the random crap that they got. Right? They got Shriek for the AOE. They got Demon Bolt for single target removal. And then in terms of like the ability to kind of last on the board, all right, they got the small taunt and Reckless Dire Troll, right? And then, you're discarding a decent amount of cards. Have a Soul Warden to get it all back. Like, it's whenever they're introducing cards that work really well kind of together and goes with the class's game plan, that's just really good. It's just really good. And Warlock is already a really good class. So expect more of that.
I agree. I also like that Demon Bolt and Grimm Rally both use the size of your board as a determination. That's very good because Zoo Warlock in Arena has kind of gone out of fashion because of how good Control Warlock's been. And like we talked about in the Rogue video at the end, when one archetype goes good, Blizzard has to balance everything. So that means the alternate archetype like really becomes unplayable. And that's kind of what's been happening with Warlock. So you add a couple more cards that are decent, right? Grimm Rally's 96, totally playable. Demon Bolt is going to be, hopefully underbucketed a little. And it is going to be one of Warlock's like 2 or 3 hard removals. You really got something, and you can have a little comeback here of Zoo not being like a totally banished archetype. Because it's kind of sad in Arena that Warlock Zoo is a banished archetype.
Yeah, it really is. It is sad.
All right. You wanna play us out, or are we done with the shout-outs?
You know what? Let's shout out everyone after the next video.
Everyone after the next video, except you, Twitch chat. You get a shout-out right now.
Oh, Twitch chat. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.